Hello, it is May 28th, 2025. This video is going to be about sketching, how to sketch. If you are interested in learning about art and would like to know how to learn how to sketch, this is a good video for that. I will briefly talk about materials. This might be a long video, so I will go through some fundamentals, but of course, your instinct or your intuition is valid as to what materials to get. But when I talk about materials, I'm talking in terms of art, academic art, going into an art store, not knowing what to get. There's so much stuff out there, and it's important that we know what we're buying and whether it's good quality or not. Usually, if you go into a store and it's got brand names, like things you've seen before, it's usually an indication that it's a good art store and it will sell good supplies. So it's basically having the right tools and learning how to use them correctly. Obviously, the best way to do it is through trial and error. You can start and make mistakes, and that's how ultimately you learn and you start gaining experience, and you will find out very quickly whether this is something you enjoy or don't enjoy. But if you're an art lover like myself, then you will find lots of benefits to learning how to sketch. So first of all, I think everybody, when they come back to art and drawing, is what should I draw? What should I get into? I like art, but who are the artists I should start with? That's ultimately your decision. You have to find the things that you are interested in. The things that move you are going to be the thing that will guide you through any given situation. Usually we start with, like in music or like in art, like in music or like in sports or like in fashion, we go to the things that are popular in our at the moment. So it's important that we know that we like things, but not be moved by I will get into this because everybody's into it. Do it because you're something about it is really driving you to get into it, and you really think that you will benefit from it and you're going to enjoy it, and not because everybody else is doing it, but because you really think that it's something that's you're interested in. Comic books, movies, video games, all these contain art, and if you are moved by sketching, right now I'm studying comic book figures, and initially that wasn't my thing. I am a fine art major, and when I was a kid, I was really, this is so weird because a lot of people are like, usually when you're a kid you like Mickey Mouse and you like comic books. But when I was young, my family, here I am from Colombia. In Bogota, we had my dad's really into technology, and we would love to go to the movies and going to church, Catholic church, and looking at all these paintings. I was at a very young age, 4 or 5 years old. I would think that this was incredibly mystifying, the whole thing about painting, looking at all these saints, angels, and obviously Jesus Christ on the being painted on canvas. It's not the only thing. Obviously, I did like Mickey Mouse, and I was really into video games, especially when I moved to Los Angeles. I was moved by video games very much. So now that I'm back into art, I'm gonna have these memories of really loving to collect comic books. When I was maybe starting to be an adolescent teenager, I started to collect comic books. Going into the comic book store, all these things drove me into. Some people like to buy art, like they will buy a comic book, but they're not interested in drawing, and that's okay. That's another option. But it's good to know about the things that you're buying. And I don't want to talk a lot, ramble on, but um, you will benefit from knowing what it is that moves you, right? So when we start to sketch, we want to know what we want to sketch. There's a lot of videos on how to sketch, and there's a lot of professionals doing this. And I see a lot of creatures being drawn, superheroes, um, all kinds of mixed media pieces, digital artwork, and you have to find the thing that moves you, the thing that is somehow making it enjoyable for you to learn about this and continue as an art student, or just as a maybe as a someone who's interested in art. Anyways, okay, so we need something that we're interested in. What do we want to draw? We want to draw scenery. We want to draw a person, a superhero. We want to look for things that are easy. Right now, I picked this thing out. This came with a DVD I bought a really long time ago. It's a Black Sails. I've never seen this series, but I'm assuming it's something that was really popular. Stars production. I liked the. I don't know if he's a pirate or a sea merchant or something. Someone from this. Someone having to do with pirates, because I'm looking at his sword, and I'm looking at I'm not very aware of what this is. It's a Michael Bay production. Anyways, I kept this because I wanted to draw this person. My interest is the human figure. I'm very interested in what it represents and how it's being utilized in art, and good or bad, it's entertaining, and it's very educational, and a very educational tool. Anyway, so you pick something that you like, and it's really difficult when you start to sketch because you don't know what to do, what to use. Should I use pencil? Should I use marker? Should I use charcoal? There's so many materials in the art store, and it's very what is this called? It's very intimidating to walk into an art store because all of these professionals, all of these, I mean, I don't know how to draw yet. I'm still learning. I'm still getting into this. This is my first attempt at learning how to sketch. So the first thing that we want to learn is, don't be afraid of the materials. You want to keep everything beautiful and nice. Initially, that is what you want. You want to keep your paper. You don't want to bend your paper. You want to keep your paper. This is a regular printer paper for the printer or your fax machine. This is stuff, it comes in 200 pages. Very economic way of starting. And these are big pens. Don't be afraid to make marks. Don't be afraid to. That's what this is for. It's like a space of space of learning, and it's not. I wanted this to come out perfect, but it's not coming out perfect. Don't be afraid of erasing. Don't be afraid of not erasing. I was taught not to erase. One of my first teachers told me, if you start getting into erasing, you're going to very quickly find yourself not liking what you're doing, and a lot of these mistakes, a lot of the stuff that is accidentally put on the paper is what makes a drawing attractive, especially to the untrained eye. So I suggest you don't get into erasing just yet. Erasing is a part of drawing, and it is very useful. But Drawing with pen. This is another really good. This is one of my favorite drawing utensils. This is something they used also in the. We want to know how to draw like maybe Leonardo da Vinci or Michelangelo. What did they use? This is something similar, a pigment with a binder, something similar they would use in the Renaissance. Something that really sticks to the paper permanently. You can go really light, and you can really go dark, and it has a really nice. When you start developing drawings, you can do this. Not only your sketches, but your when you start learning how to sketch, and from sketching, you can develop ideas for a really nice drawing. And this is a really good option. Prismacolor black, or blue, or any dark tone. Any colored pencil. It doesn't have to be Prismacolor. There's also Faber-Castell. These are really good pencils. These are some of my favorite pencils. I think these are really good quality. I like the dark. These are HB, so you got to learn about which the darker the better. Usually at first, you want to make mistakes. Mistakes are this is. I'm learning. These are my favorite. No, I'm sorry. These are my first attempt at using 8B. This is closer to charcoal. If you can look at you can see the lead. It's really thick. These are really interesting. Staedtler. I'm more of a Faber-Castell fan. I use these more because they're equally in the same area as quality as terms of quality. But I seem to like the green and the dark. I'm gonna, for the first time, I'm gonna try these. Staedtlers are very popular for architects. I think architects and fine drawing. These are also very good. But I have never tried these. These are really thick. It does look like charcoal. It looks like it's starting to turn into charcoal. And these, but thick tips are really. These are really cool for drawing. Thick tips are also good. These are. I wouldn't. If we're gonna learn to sketch, we can start with these, but these are very expensive, so I wouldn't start with these. Sharpies are also nice too. The thing is that you don't want to waste a Sharpie on a sketch, but you gotta start finding the way to move around the tip. There's a really fine part of the tip you use for really fine lines. And these are also if you haven't heard of Sarah Simblet's sketchbook book, that's what would be my first option. So you could look at the difference between lines. There's Drawing for Dummies, which is also really good. Drawing for Dummies is written by, I'm sorry, I don't remember her name. There's a lot of books on the market. You go to a bookstore or you go to the actual art store where you can buy these, and you can see that the lines have different thicknesses. These are good for sketching. Very interesting. So you want a dry surface. You don't want to get Bristol. I've seen a lot of people get Bristol for sketching. Don't do that because Bristol is very expensive, and it really becomes Bristol is when you finished a sketch and you're like, oh, I'm gonna pick this, and so then you decide that you want this on the Bristol, this part of the drawing on the Bristol, and then that's when you work very delicately. There's regular pencils, number 2 pencils from school, from your any school, high school, college. I really use these up until it gets to the end because these are really, really good pencils. You can go really light with these. I've been using these a lot lately. You can go really light. These are probably the number 2 pencil that you use on your tests. You can go really light, or you can go. I don't want this to fall. You can go really dark. When I mean hard, I mean you can really dig into the paper. Careful not to rip the sheets, but yeah, this is a really good This is another one of my favorites, besides the Faber-Castell. We have, obviously, any kind of ink, pen, ballpoint pens. These are really good for sketching. These are really good. They release a lot of ink. They don't really go thick, but they do release ink consistently. It's like consistently dropping ink on the paper, and it's really, really nice. These Pilot pens. There's all different kinds of Pilot. These are very good for sketching. I think I saw one. Whose video did I see recently? He said, like, don't worry about style. Like, you have like I want to draw like. You wanna switch up, if quote unquote style, right? What is my style? All of these things will come to you slowly, but they will in questions. What is my style? Who do I want to copy? It's okay to copy. That's another thing, that it's okay to copy drawings. That's okay. It's valid. It doesn't mean you're less of an artist or an inferior one. Copying is a fundamental learning exercise from the Renaissance. So Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, Botticelli, these artists had to copy master plates, master drawings. So master drawings, you want to look these up, and these will help you, guide you into really knowing what's the information on the page. There's thick lines, there's small lines, there's soft, there's really hard, there's hatching. This is a technique they use for shadow, for creating shadow on form. You want to use rhythmic lines, and also mistakes. Mistakes are welcome. Mistakes are welcome. So this is one kind of paper. I will show you different kinds of paper. So if I have this, for example, I really wanna learn how to sketch something like this. That's something you want to develop. You want to develop your way of doing it. There's different kinds. I sometimes start with the head, and then I compare the size of the head with the arms. The arms are obviously way longer, right? So you count how many heads will fit in the space that the arm takes up. There's many ways of doing this, but I don't want to limit anyone, right? I don't want to limit anyone. There's a lot of ways of doing one thing. You can also create versions of the same thing, which are different. Stick figures are also very, very nice to draw. From the stick figure, you can add the muscle, and you can add. So this is advanced stuff. But you start to develop your own way. This is obviously very wrong, but it's valid because I'm making mistakes in my sketchbook. So you start looking at the figure. This is something that will become very easy through practice. Anyways, that's one way of doing it. So these are the colored pencils. Having a reference image is also fundamental. Copying from master drawings, copying from any photography. Photography is also valid. Photography. What do we add? Photography is valid. Writing on drawings is valid, obviously. You heard something important, you jot it down, and it's in your sketchbook, and it's going to be there for you to study later. The Sharpie. This is what all the professionals in comic book creation, animation, digital art, comic book, Chinese, Japanese artists that create comic books, use these. I think this is a Japanese pen, or based on a Japanese brush. So it's a brush pen. These are very expensive and they're very difficult. Well, here in Colombia, these are very expensive. And if you don't have practice with a brush, this is a really good way to start. I bought my first one. I could not find the black one, so I bought a red one, and I made a lot of drawings with the red one. And I love these. I love these things. These are very. These create a lot of mistakes, because a lot of ink gets on the paper, and that's it. The ink gets on the paper, and that's it. It's not going to be erased. These are Artline. I like these. These are good for sketching. There's a technique that involves there's different ways of filling in a space. Right, we got hatching. This really fast line, like if we're drawing hair or something very shadowy really quickly. I think this one's running out. It's on its last uses. Art line and hatching. You create these, and you look at these old Renaissance paintings, old Renaissance drawings, and they have this hatching technique all over them. There's also a very free way of doing it. It's just like filling in space this way, right? Wherever it's dark, then you just kind of fill it like this. This is every which way, left, right, from right to left, from left to right, up, down, down, up, right? That's another way of doing it. There's also very, you can sketch really slowly and longer lines. This is one of my favorite ways of doing it because things come out really clean and beautiful. So it's like longer lines, but knowing where the line starts and where it ends. So I look at the paper and I want a line here that goes all the way here. So then I have to sort of measure before I sort of do, right? Having patience and being sort of looking for precision points. And if you make a mistake, don't be discouraged, because if you don't make mistakes, you're gonna have a really hard time enjoying this. This is part of the fun of this, is making the mistake. Mistakes are welcome on your sketchbook. So enjoy the material. You're like, oh, now I want to put color in this. That's another way of doing it. Mixing things. Ultimately, I would teach someone to learn how to use, if you're going to sketch with this, just use one thing. But I would not focus on inks yet. I would start with dry colored pencil or charcoal. But actually, charcoal's a little bit difficult to, if you have your sketchbook, you want to be able to, whatever you feel comfortable with. And you want to start hearing the paper. That's really digging into the paper. And I'm not really pressing anything, right? I'm not pressing, because these are really delicate tips and you could probably break it or bend it. But you can hear the paper. Right? It's really grabbing it. It's really grabbing the ink, because it's a dry surface and the ink is a wet little tip. It's a wet tip and it's absorbing all that tip. Anyways, listen for the sounds it makes. This is one of my favorites right now. I have a comic book releasing pinups of a comic book idea I have, and I'm using this to ink some parts of it. This has a really delicate, a lot of ink comes out of this. It's a sign pen. I love it's like a Sharpie, but it's a little thicker. These are wet. The Sharpies are dry. Like the ink is dry. But it's a lot of ink, a Sharpie, and it's really, really permanent. This is just as permanent, but it has it's a different kind of ink. It looks more like comic book based inks that. But no, I mean, it does look like a Sharpie sometimes. And it does go dry, like if you... Alright, so we got lines. We got shapes, circles, squares, triangles. And then you start moving into, if you want to look up something really interesting, is Peter Hahn's Dynamic Bible for people who are interested in sketching and they have some sort of idea. Is it Peter Hahn? Peter Hahn's Dynamic Bible. That book is great. It has the fundamentals basically of figure drawing and, well, sketching, creations. Sorry, I'm holding the phone and I can... My stomach is growling. My stomach is... What is it called? I think I tell Neko when he's barking. Sometimes he whines and it sounds like it sounds like my car brakes. So I'm like, why are you braking? I say it in Spanish though, it sounds different. Anyways, that's a good book. These sign pens are really, really great. I'm using these. This is a Faber-Castell. This is a 6B. This is really thick. This is one of my favorite ways of starting a drawing. Or, for example, I have something already on the paper. Use the back. If you're doing these kinds of exercises, reutilize, recycle, please. Recycle. Please recycle. It's a fundamental practice for every artist to recycle. We want to be able to have trees and landscapes to paint. Please do not misuse this stuff. These are pigments and this is graphites. So this is really good for shading areas. Like I know the area is going to be dark here, for example, and I really go for it with a 6B because it's really dark. It's a very free way of doing this, but the more you practice, you're like, oh, how do you get such straight lines? How do you get such, round circles? It's from doing it a lot. You just have to start giving your wrist and your arm and your brain the practice. I want to try these lines too. The Peter Hahn, I think Peter Hahn talks about these. Short, long, tiny bursts of rhythmic stuff. These are important. Let's see. I'm very interested in adding these dry markers. This is highlighters, but they have this really interesting finish. I didn't think highlighters were good for drawing, but they really are. You see these packs of like 5 highlighters, or maybe less, 4 highlighters, and you use those for your drawings, and they add a lot of dimension to your figures and to buildings. Like if there's light hitting something like sunshine and you add this stuff, it looks really good. I add the blue and the red to pink. I use on skin tone, and it really adds stuff. I use this blue for pants or for jackets or hats. This is really interesting way of it, and as you can see, it creates really, it's like a calligraphy line because it's got that tip, special calligraphy tip, so you can make really great drawings and sketch. It's a really good sketching tool. So all of these are really good sketching tools. You don't necessarily have to go into the paper or your typical pencil and paper. This is a finer element, which is charcoal, a very expensive type of charcoal. You don't necessarily, it's a really soft charcoal. It's a black, sort of like a black chalk, really, really, really dry. It may not be appealing to children which like comic book line, fine line, digital art, but I think it's beautiful. William Kentridge. Let's see, it's William Kentridge. He is a South African. Well, I know he's an African artist, and he does these really great Kentridge. Excuse me, I'm holding the phone and trying to draw. This is difficult. William Kentridge. This is an experimental artist who uses photography and video when he's drawing, when he's creating, and he creates these animations, and he uses a lot of charcoal, really big drawings, and he does charcoal drawings. I love charcoal because you can move it around. It's very malleable, like clay. You can get really gray areas. You can hear, like I said, listen to the paper, and you also start to feel it. Experiment with the tip. Allow yourself to make these mistakes here on the paper. As you can see, I have no idea. I don't have any. I am basically just, this is a basic muscle exercise. I don't know what's going on, but as you can see, it starts to look like something because I'm losing all inhibition on I'm not really worried about someone's going to look at this. And if someone's going to judge me, or someone's going to say this is pretty, this is ugly, this is good, that's not the idea. This is not the idea. The sketchbook is like your diary, your personal notes. You can also write stuff like recipes. You can write poetry. You can write lyrics. You can copy lyrics. You can copy things that you like. You can paste stuff on, like you can photocopy stuff. You can cut out images. I got this from a DVD, but I can very easily get some glue and put this in my sketchbook because I think it's a really good image. I like the background. I like the dark. I like the the way the guy's dressed. He's got really cool apparel. Yeah. I like the guy, but not really. He's just got really cool. He's a pirate. He's got really cool leather jacket. Look at that belt. Big boots. He's got a sword out, so it's pretty cool. And look at I think this is a British flag or something on the. Right. Anyways, you put stuff here that you like and that you enjoy. So we got this. This is an HB Faber-Castell, which is a lot lighter. You can barely see it, but you can also press down on it and it becomes more visible. But it's not as thick as the 6B, but it's still really cool for learning, like starting a silhouette. If you want to copy a very attractive lady, because she has a really beautiful body, then you do that. You use references, and and you find solutions. Like, I only have a pencil and paper. Dark areas are dark, light areas are kept light, but we still have to draw something there, right? We have to give it some information. So that's how you sketch. Basic shapes, one next to the other, is if you have seen if you have looked for The Marvel Way. I think I mentioned this book already. John Buscema, Stan Lee. So this is sort of like a Burnt Hogarth figure. When you hear artists talk about, I'm drawing from imagination. Let me look for something darker. Now that I sort of have an idea of what I'm gonna draw or something, then I go over it with something darker, right? Like a comic book practice. But you also do this with pencil and fine art. So when artists say, I'm drawing from imagination, oops, forgive I can't see the imagination. What is this basically saying? It's saying that I already know the figure. So I'm going to draw a square from imagination. That's basically it. I have seen a square before, and I had one in my mind, and I drew that one. I have seen lots of squares in my life. I have used lots of squares. There's a lot of squares in art, and I have decided to draw this one right now. So when artists say I'm drawing from imagination, it's basically drawing things that you already know. So I have drawn Superman, Batman. I have drawn Spider-Man 100 times, and then they know because they have studied that particular figure. I know that a human head is round, right? So this is from imagination. Because I have studied this figure 100 times, and I know that the human head is round. Okay, what's underneath the head? I know that it's a neck, but what kind of neck? I have seen lots of necks, and this is drawing from imagination, stuff that I have studied and I have drawn before. So it's not like I'm creating it out of nothing. It's the concept that everybody has in their mind. It's like, I'm creating something that I've never seen before. I'm creating something that, no, it's stuff that you have seen before. And it's stuff that, for example, in that Burnt Hogarth book, Dynamic Anatomy, he says that this book is here to help you draw like Michelangelo. You know, all those figures in the Sistine Chapel, because Michelangelo, like Burnt Hogarth, studied the figure. So they would grab one limb or they would grab one finger and they would study it. And they say, oh no, you have to study all perspective. No, you just study one. So like, I know I've seen this perspective of the finger. I'm going to draw this one. There's one finger. How did you draw that so fast? Because I know that, because I've drawn my own hands along. This is just one finger. And maybe there's a nail around here. I have seen this figure dozens of times. This is from imagination. Something that's been recorded in my memory. Something that I've used hundreds of times, right? So it's sort of like I've drawn hands before. I know what hands look like, right? So you drew one finger. Now I know how to draw. In that book, that Burnt Hogarth book, I know that the palm of my hand is not a square but a rectangle, like a pizza box. This is sort of similar, but it has these chunky, meaty areas. So this is not from, I'm not making this up. The human hand is like this. It has fat areas. I know there's 6 bones because I've studied, 6 bones or 7 bones on the wrist. As they look like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then maybe here 7. Not exactly, but that makes up a wrist. And I know that what comes after the wrist is an arm, a big thick bone. Wow, look, you're drawing it from imagination. The imagination part is that I have been studying this for a long time and I know this information. So that doesn't mean that I made it out of, I created, almost like God, created man. I'm not creating this from zero. I have seen this figure dozens of times. A thumb almost reminds me of like two pieces of bone. Actually, look, you can tell that I haven't been studying my thumbs, or I haven't, not at this. Yeah, there you go, something like that, right? I'm just sketching it out because this is information I've seen before. So there you go, an arm, and then from the arm I know that there's a bicep here, etc., etc., right? So it's a practice of the concept, the idea of imagination. Like somebody says, no, I made it up. When they say they've made it up, is that they've seen it 100 or 1,000 times, and they have drawn it 100 or 1,000 times. So it doesn't mean, I created humans. No. It's what it's basically saying. Is that what the artists are saying is that we are basically, like for example, the word Batman. How do you know how to write so nice? How are your letters so close together and neat and capital and etc., etc., etc.? All these characteristics about the way my lettering is. It's because I've been writing since I've been a little kid. Right, it's part of school, so you have to write. You have to write book reports. You have to write essays. So this is, I'm going to write the word. I'm going from my imagination. I am going to create a Batman logo with the word Batman. So I know what Batman, I know how to write Batman, but I'm going to create this. Actually, let's make it like this. So I'm going to create some sort of lettering. And then I'm going to create, I know that Batman is spelled this way, so I'm halfway there. I know that capital A is like this. I know that a T is like this. So this is from imagination. This is considered from imagination. I don't know if I'm making sense. A lot of people are like, what is he talking about? This is imagination. This is my imagination and my collective memory being exercised. I've seen this 100 times. The same thing when you draw a house. How many times did we draw houses when we were little kids? So Batman, that is, someone says, oh, I really like this. What is that? It's the word Batman. Who made this? I created this from imagination, right? Because I've studied the word. I have seen lots of fonts. I have written the word a million times, Batman. Well, maybe not a million, but I have seen it in comic books millions of times, in television. I have seen Batman a million times. I don't know if that makes sense. Hopefully I'm making sense. So imagination is basically, what is imagination equivalent to? So we're stuck on, oh my God, he creates these things out of his mind, imagination. And this is something that I was caught up on. Imagination equals memory. Not just visual memory, but muscle and anatomical memory. Well, yeah, like anatomy memory, like the anatomy. I don't know if that's correct. But so muscle memory and visual memory. Like I've seen this
movie a million times. I know the next scene is going to be this, this, and this. So it's not like, oh, I'm making it up out of thin air. You know, there's a logic, right? Heads are round, necks are sort of like this. The chest is like a big rectangle, right? I've seen chests, um, maybe for skirts. For what do girls wear? Skirts. So we draw a skirt, right? What does a skirt look like? Sort of like this. And you sort of like, you know, legs. What are legs? Cylinders, right? They go straight down the body. Not straight down, but this is a synthesis, right? It doesn't have to be perfect. Is it usually a little longer? And what do feet look like? Like two cars, right? It's a synthesis. It doesn't have to be exact, and it won't be because you're still learning. You're learning knees, right? Eventually, when you start getting into well, so let's finish this off. So this, what do arms look like? Very similar to legs. There's two parts to them. They're divided into two. Usually, the first part is longer than the second. So, one and two with a little bit of the wrist and the pizza box, the pizza rectangle. Right? It's a pizza box in the thin air. Looked, this is a perspective, right? So it's like a pizza box. It's a pizza box, but it's turned a little, right? And then you add fingers. The hand is usually in painting, it has to be, if not the same size as the head, bigger than the head. So don't make those hands tiny. Make sure those limbs are long and that your hands are as big as, or if not, bigger. Because from a distance, even your hand may be not that big, right? It'll or yeah, no, it's a big hand, but it won't be as big as your head or at the same height as your hair. But you want to overdo it with hands so that because visually for some reason the perspective, planes, the way things are seen through nature is that some things come before others. So if we're posing in a certain direction or a certain way, then the head is a certain size, and usually hands are a lot bigger. So try to draw it just as big as the head, or maybe a little bit bigger. Maybe you have long fingers. So then we repeat. The other one is doing nothing different. It's just about the same. And the pizza box. Oops. Pizza box, sort of like this. Sometimes it could be like one of those cheese commercials. I don't know if you've seen those cheese. Anyways, use references. So it's a synthesis, right? I created this human from imagination. I made him up, him or her. This we said that she was wearing a skirt, so we start adding clothes. Clothes. This is a lady. So then girls are a lot thinner here at the waist. Not always, but just so that we can, they usually have a chest. It's usually round around this area. It's a chest. Chests are round. They have shoulders. I know this information because I've seen it and I've copied it and I've looked at it and I've copied it and I've seen it and I've copied it. But if you try to do this from memory, it's very difficult. Feet are very hard to draw. It's usually like a plane, like another pizza box, but it has toes at the end, which are very hard to draw, especially this size. Anyways, we got bones. We got when you start getting into bones, then you can start synthesizing those. This is what bone is this? Oh, sorry, I forgot the name of this bone. The femur. There's a big bone, and it's covered in all of this muscle. I'm on muscles right now. I don't know the muscles. I know some of the bones. The chest area is sort of like this. Anyways, etc., etc. This is all information from my memory, my muscle, and I know anatomy. I know some anatomy through my memory. I don't know muscles yet, but I'm on muscles right now. No, I'm still on bones. I'm still on bones. I have to learn the. I have to also learn the proportions because they synthesized is no problem. I can synthesize them, but there's a specific girth to bones and to the stuff around them. Oops. Anyways, so basically that's it. This is the thing here that everybody is, especially me, when I was drawn to this, is imagination. How am I going to do this if I can't even copy the word? So copy, like I said, there's a, what is it? Copying master drawings. Copying master drawings to start with. Yeah, you can, sure, of course. Copy some Superman, copy some Batman, some Batman, some women, stuff that you like, stuff that you think is cool. Batman, Flash, etc., etc. Flash. Who else? The Green Goblin. All those Spider-Man movies. If you're watching a movie, pause the movie, and I know that eyeballs are round, right? But they sort of like start to, at the ends, they start, because I've seen so many eyeballs, and the anatomy, I don't know the anatomy yet, but I know sort of like this. There's eyebrows, right? The eyeball, the iris, are in the center of actually, I know the iris is the center, right? And these are all mistakes I can create on my own. This is a Sharpie. What else? We have these really thick markers. There's so many companies make these, and these are very permanent and stink. These really stink, but they're really permanent on paper, and they're really great tools. I love to. So one of the things that I like to do is collect this cardboard. Like you buy a television, don't throw that cardboard out, especially if you're gonna be making sketches, because out of that cardboard box, the new television, you can make a huge portfolio. You grab two of those ends, and you can find a way to sew or to glue. Don't glue them. Just so they keep the paper, because if you're going to start really getting into this, I suggest you get big sheets of paper. These really stink and are really permanent, but I love the cardboard because it's also good for drawing. And I do a lot of. I have influences like everybody else. And I know you guys have seen street art. Some of it is very interesting. Some of it is terrible. Some of it is very good. Got to learn to criticize, but in a constructive manner. I like street art because it's very free and form, and it's like a lot of people use the street to make doodles, and I don't know whether that's good. I know it's illegal, but that's why I get paper. I tell all these people when I was in college, I love street art. I said, why don't you put that on a T-shirt or a canvas? It's a lot better than throwing it into the street. These are also really cool. These are permanent markers. I think these are alcohol based. It's another Pilot. It come with cartridges. I'm on my third one. I bought this new, and it came with 3 cartridges. This is the third one. These are really good areas for drawing. Anyways, so we have materials. I said I talked about this one. This is good for skin. This is good for the skin. Now this is a long video. Only on sketching. But then you go back. You can open your sketchbook again. Oh, it's there. I can maybe add something to it. Add skin tone. He's a, or she's a pink lady. This really adds a lot of dimension to drawings. If you think that your stuff is, you know, initially I wouldn't add any color. I'd just leave the pencil, because it's leaving it just pencil looks really good. But if you're bored and you want to do something interesting, this stuff is these highlighters are really great for adding a little dimension to these Sharpies of different colors. I also like these. These hard surfaces are cool with these markers. I like to make up if like words like this. Lettering that's not really, it's sort of similar, but it's nothing really. I'm not saying anything. I'm just using the space, the movement, the color, quite possibly, you know, ancient scrolls, you know, in an ancient city, you know, making up stuff that I've seen a million times in movies. Atlantis and what else? What's another? Comic books, futuristic comic books. Pencil is also good on this thing. You can't see it very well, but it adds stuff. You start adding things. This is Faber-Castell, so these are great. These are great. I really love making. These are really good for fine work. So you learn to use it from the tip. You learn to use here a little more pressure. You learn to use it like this, like when you're writing your name. It's like more wrist, right? This is more. I'm using my arm, not my wrist. I'm keeping my wrist like in one position, and I'm moving my arm, my shoulder. And I'm getting a lot. These are really, really, really cool circles. Anyways, so we have to learn the darks, HB, 6B. I love colored pencil. I love these. What is it called? Lead pencil, because you can go really hard. If you can't go too hard, because then you'll break the lead. But these are great. These are really great for sketching. And depending on the paper, these leave a really dark mark, or this is HB. Depending on the paper, it will leave a really dark mark or a really light one. On this paper, it's not that, no, it is, it's a little dark. It's not the darkest, but anyways, these are great because if you can only carry your book and this, and that's it. You just carry your one. You don't have to take any kind of sharpener or any extra tool. Just the pencil and this, and you can draw all day. You got like 5 leads. So these are really good. Number 2 pencils. I like the darks in these. They leave a really interesting. I like the way it feels also, number 2 pencils. It feels really professional. Really professional. It leaves a really cool graphite mark. These are number 2, number 2 pencils from school, HB. It's number 2 HB. So it's a soft pencil, but it's a hard I don't know what HB stands for. Hard black, hard. They're good. Number 2, these are good. Soft Harps, Tiken de Gora. These are here. These are pencils here in Colombia. But I don't know. I don't know which the number 2 pencils that you guys have in schools or universities or high school. Any academic space. Number 2 pencils. These are colored pencils of French. I think these are French origin. Austria. Oh, these are Austrian. And these are really good for colored pencil. It's a colored pencil, but I use it like a Prismacolor. I grab I grab this, and I get very carefully. I sharpen the tip, and I have a really nice tip for fine stuff. These new Uniballs are really cool. These have really nice acrylic ink. Really good for like tagging. So, synthesis of things I've seen. People in the world, right, etc. These are great. Those are great. I drew this from imagination. So is this from the imagination? This is from the imagination. All of this is from the imagination. I'm sorry. The problem is that it's not a Disney character, or it's not Superman, or it's not Batman, but it is from the imagination. So don't discard this stuff, because this is your imagination. It's in your mind. Whatever it is that you're perceiving at the moment, it's yours. You put it in the also with things I like I like certain things, and some things I think are terrible. Yeah, that's mine. Those are my likes. The things I like, and the things that, I don't like this. Well, that's what you don't like, and that's okay. But it's what you don't like. Doesn't mean that I have to not like it, or vice versa, right? In context, right? In context. Like if you go somewhere and you see someone on the street and you yell at them, well, nobody's going to like that. So, I mean, that's a general rule. I don't think that person's going to like it, and I think you're going to find that when you get home, or if someone else does that to you, you're going to see, yelling at someone on the street isn't... these are Sharpies, but with a finer tip. So, in context of art, things that I like are my likes. This is another, it's the same number 2 pencil. But you can see that I really use these up. And when they're small, you can really dig into the surface. Right? Shadows are also your creation. This is a brush I'm using to ink my comic book ideas. These are Lion Studio. These are 800, 500, 500. Grab a little water and a little ink, and then I experiment with the brush. The same as the Pentel brush. Erasers. These are specific erasers to charcoal or to pencil. You can use both. It's I don't know what it's called in English. It's an eraser. It's a specific type of eraser. You can erase stuff. But initially, if you're going to learn how to sketch, I would not erase anything. I would just this is a Faber-Castell eraser. These are really good because it's very controlled. It really grabs the line that you're going to erase, the area, really well. These are Faber-Castell eraser dispenser. These are really cool. Anyways, oh no, let's continue with the materials. Look for hard surfaces. They sell these boards. Any kind of board you could find. This is like MDF board. You can use this stuff with paper, and it also gives you a different feel and a lot of different control. Right? It feels different to draw on a soft surface rather than a hard surface. Oh, it's up to you. I would initially tell you that to do it on a hard surface so that it's consistent. If it's soft, then it's not always going to be soft. So it's interesting. So this is all information from my imagination, but it's real information and it's stuff that you can relate to. So that's what makes it great. Right? If I'm just making up gibberish, then it's not great. It's a lot different. So that's what it's great. That's the imagination part of being when you're a comic book artist or a figure drawer. Like I'm drawing this from imagination. It's because I have obviously have seen this a million times, and I know what an eye looks like, what an ear looks like, and I have drawn it 100 times, 1,000 times, a million times. So I know that it's round and that it has soft edges and et cetera, et cetera. So and then I have done anatomical studies through books and through copying. This is really good paper. It's mixed media. I only use this stuff when I'm going to make a really important piece or when I'm going to use acrylic paint, and I cover the surface with gesso. So these are still to be used, but this is all gesso and gray paint. So it's acrylic paint and gesso, and I covered these surfaces, and these are really well protected. So anything that I paint on here or that I use for this stuff, it will be very well protected. So this stuff is really good. It's really thick paper. Canson mixed media. I love this. It's very rustic. It'll take a beating. So if you've seen like Basquiat paintings, you see what kind of stuff that he would really lay down on wood and wood panels and carton stuff that's really hard. You wanna start adding brush and start experimenting with the brush and with paint. Instead of leaving it on something like this, you can really protect it by having once you have the money and are ready to spend more on it. This is really great paper. This is it's my favorite go-to mixed media paper. Sketchbook. Obviously, this is what we're talking about here. Italian Fabriano. These are beautiful. It's a beautiful paper, beautiful company. They make really great products. I love their paper. This is only sketch paper, but these are my latest creations. I've already shared these. Most recently, I started noodling. I forgot this guy Robert. I forgot his last name. He's got a YouTube channel, Draw Sessions, I think it's called. And he does a lot of character creation. So I just started noodling, doing a lot of noodle, and this is what I came up with. And information. Oh, probably shouldn't have had that there. Anyways, yeah, no, I'm thinking This is another creation. I used Neko's foot because he was bitten when he was only 7 months. So the dog anatomy I was looking like at a crocodile, but in a human shaped head, nails, stuff I've seen already. This is a figure from my imagination, and he's walking. Neko likes to lay down. I have a German Shepherd, and he likes to lay down on his side. But I made this creature's body too short, so it looks like he's his back legs are walking faster than the rest of his body. So it's weird. This is an anatomy class I was looking at with Sarah Simblett. I think I mentioned her in another video. It's just different poses. So this is your sketchbook. This is where I make mistakes. These aren't my pieces, they're just information. Anyways, so this is a sketchbook. This is really horse anatomy, which is very difficult to draw. So this is a sketchbook. And drawing. This is from Blick when I would work. I was working at Blick. This was like 10 years ago. I don't remember exactly. Maybe more. Maybe like 10 years ago. No, more like 12 years ago. They had these. Blick has their own brand of drawing materials, and this is really good. Information. It's really good information, but it's also Blick. They make excellent pencils. These are really great drawing tools. These are pigments with a binder. It's oil basically in a presentable. This is also another drawing tool. This is something I've seen Jim Lee use. This is like an architect's pencil. It's got a really thick lead. This is a Staedtler Mars Technical. I like to draw with this a lot. Maybe a little bit similar to the lead pencil, but it's got a thicker tip, so you can really dig into the paper. And it's heavy. It's not that heavy because it's got a plastic thing, but this is metal, so it's similar to an architect's pencil. This is to rub graphite and really smear it on the paper to spread it, the charcoal and the graphite. Not sure what this is called in English. Spanish, it's difuminar, para difuminar zonas. Markers and so this comes with information on colors and markers that they have. They have markers. They have colored pencils. These are really good. So this would be initially what I would get. I would get one or two of these, a black or maybe a blue, dark, and use this on your sketchbook. And you will, if you have the money, get the entire set. But sometimes we buy things and we don't really need like this. This is a different kind of artist. Someone who's professional and great, and they know how to use these things. Yeah, it's like getting I don't know. I want to learn how to drive a bicycle professionally. I'm not gonna get the $10,000 bike. I'm gonna start start with something a lot less expensive, so that I learn the craft. So initially they sell them individually. If you go to Blick Art, just get one or two. Or the set. They have 8 of 8. Get those. Those are great. So yeah, they have. This is what are these called? I'm sorry, pastels. Pastel sets are nice. It's like an introduction. It's the link between drawing and painting. So it's dry media, but it could be. You could add water depending on the type of pastel it is. You can add water or oil, and you can really blend colors. And these are the references. This is Botticelli. More references, and I print stuff out and I leave it there. Don't throw this stuff out. Don't throw this stuff out. If you do, recycle. This is really, really good paper. This is, for example, throwaway paper, but I use the other side, and I've had this for like 10 years. This is great paper. And it's a great reference. It's a great reference. Sandro Botticelli. This is a Jesus. Sandro Botticelli. Came out in 2 pages, but it's great. It's a great reference. This is a master drawing. You can really look at what's going on, the information. Look at all the lines in the hair, which are very many. They're locks, and look at the nose, the way he shaped it. It's very interesting the way these Renaissance artists would work. Also references, there's photography. I mentioned get photography. If you don't have a camera or cell phone, try to print stuff out from the internet. This is Monica Bellucci. This is an Italian model, very famous. She was in The Matrix and lots of very important movies. I think she's really beautiful and very attractive, and we can use those proportions. Her face and the space between everything, the fine lines, study her. Look, for example, look at her neck. She's got a long neck. There's people that don't have necks that long. She has a really long neck, dark hair, really, really beautiful eyes. Long hair. There's characteristics, adjectives, things that make her attractive and will make your sketches attractive too. Look, for example, this would be focused on her hair. She's got really long hair and it looks a certain way. It looks heavy, but it looks light, etc., etc., etc. This is another Italian model, famous, Sophia Loren. I really like her figure. It's really classic, very heavy, heavy woman. In heavy in the sense of sculpture, and she's not like skinny, but she's really, really nice shape. Maybe she's a little lighter here. Words are also very, very key to sketching. You want something light, leave it light. But you have to think of the word. You have to think of the word, and you have to think of the concept of something being light. For example, light, that's a light. So that looks a certain way, and that will take up, if I wanted to, for example, sketch that would look very different on a piece of paper. There's a Batman poster up there. They take up a certain amount of space. They take up a certain amount of space on the paper. They are big figures. The bat, which is on the far right, high on the far right, is not as big as Batman, right? So he takes up a certain amount of space. So etc., etc., etc. There's a lot of stuff I can say. So I have to think in proportions. So I'm gonna make Batman huge, and I'm gonna make the bat very small. You have to compare, contrast, and think of the words. This is another type of paper. It's called newsprint. Basically newspaper. And I like to draw on this a lot. It's not very high quality, but I think it's really good for drawing. You have to take care of, if it's a really nice drawing, you have to take care of it. I cut out special sized pages. I was going to do a drawing and it didn't come out so good. So then I just cut it into pieces because I switched. I'm sorry, that's not incorrect for me. It's not correct. I used it. I think I used some like I redrew something on the bottom and I used that part, and I just left this erased. This was erased, but it's really cool paper. This is different sheets of paper. I like to cut cut paper and leave it there. If I want to make a small drawing, I have special paper. It's really small and tiny, and if I want to make a special drawing. So this is newsprint. It's very useful. And this is colored paper, toned paper. It's not toned paper, it's colored paper. You can use these things too, rulers, special rulers, to make circles, to basically do whatever you'd like, you know. Be creative with your tools. This is colored. It's really like, this is what they give kids to draw on, but I think it's good paper. It's 80 grams, 80 gram, 30 sheets of 80 gram paper. It's thick. It's good. It's for kids, but I like to use it. Normally this is something that not too many people like, but I use the bleed for my next piece. I use it as a part of the piece. I'm drawing figures right now. On this whole, I did some Roman sculptures and a prime minister on one of these yellow ones. I like this as a prime minister. This is newsprint, but it's been mass produced, right? It's been used, and there's ink on it, so it's got a different quality to it. But I can draw on this just as much as the other, right? This is very, I like to get, this is the newspaper here in Colombia, El Tiempo, very important newspaper here. But if I want to do some sketching, I could, especially charcoal is a really good, where's my charcoal? Here it is. I could do stuff here. I can copy. I already used this, so let's do this. I may need it to refine the. So I sort of copy what I see on the image. It's a great way to practice your muscle memory. Right, there's lines here, there's dark here. It's a really great way of learning. He's got a neck right here, but he's got a closed collar. There's an ear, hairline. His face, his body takes up a certain amount of space on the left side of the picture. But it's only this much, right? He doesn't take up any more. I can, because I know anatomy and because I have sort of an idea, I can maybe make up the rest of the figure here. This is really great paper. It's not expensive, but it's not a throwaway. You can really utilize this paper. Maybe he's not that heavy. I know his shoulder blades are here. His rib cage is here. Maybe his kidneys are around somewhere around here. His pelvis is probably a big pelvis because his legs are somewhere around this area. So it's not exact, and I know this. I know it's not exact. I'm making the rest up. I'm making that up. Let's see. It's a great, well, maybe look. I know that this looks way off. So, because I know his head has to be a lot. That's way too big, so maybe it's around here. Yeah, see, I talk a lot about that the third line. The third line. It's usually you put down the first line. Oh, it's not that one. So then I go, it's less or it's more, and I go, oh, it's not that one. It's the one in the center. It's between those two. That's the line. That's the line that is. So this looks, so then I sort of clean it up a little bit. I smear what's inside because I'm going to use the inside. That's part of it. His eye, his hairline. Let's give him a ponytail. Just because it's easy for me. I know what ponytails look like. I used to wear a ponytail. So he's got a ponytail, almost like a French person from the Baroque area, or a composer, a music composer. So that's another thing. and it sort of it relates because she's very expressive in her. It really. Why did I copy this? Because I thought it really it reminded me of Michelangelo, the way her expression on her face and her body, and in her torso, the way her torso is. It's very reminiscent of Michelangelo. So I can continue. And he's a big guy. So it's a lot taller than her. So then I sort of compare. I know I have a reference point. Maybe her legs are coming down here. Maybe this is where her leg is. Maybe it could be a lot. No, but if she's this way. Oh, this is one way of doing it. Right. So then if her legs are down here, then maybe this is where his foot is. And I'm trying to draw and hold the phone. Anyways. You also, this is something that I think it's in the Marvel way. The Marvel way. It's the Stan Lee and John Buscema show you how to draw comic books. It's behind this foot, but you want to draw the entire thing. You want to draw his leg, and you want to draw the foot that's behind this one. Just in case you need to do something or to fix something later. So you want to draw both feet. It's from my imagination, right? It's from my imagination. It could be completely. It's obviously very wrong because he does not. I'm sure his suit isn't his legs are a lot longer. I'm sure his legs are come down to here or something. Very tall. Because I know Europeans are tall, and I know this is Europe and United Kingdom. So yeah, I made his legs way too short because I can't. I'm trying to hold the phone and it's getting dark. Anyways, The Marvel Way is an excellent book. The Marvel Way for comic books, and also it's in its general use. It shows you how to sketch the figure. It uses it uses this sort of method. It's, the pelvis is round, but so is the chest, the face. There's a method, and it's really interesting. The Marvel Way, I really like it. I thought it was 6 months, but I've had it over a year, and I really like I created this from my imagination. But where did I learn? Where did I learn to do this? From a specific book, from specific people. So it's not like I created I created comic book drawing. It's a specific method, and it's very interesting. This is very interesting. You can copy this stuff. This is street art. You can copy it. His hat. So when I'm talking about the Marvel way is the hat goes all the way around his head. So I'm gonna go all the way around so that I can see the actual hat. You want to go through. So just the hat. Right? I don't know if I'm making sense, right? There's a person maybe here. This guy here. He's behind this one, and we can't see the rest of his body, but we can sort of make it up. There's one foot here, but I'm going to draw the rest of the foot and bring up the legs. Right? So the hidden area is being revealed. It's also really good for comic book creation. Right? His arm, which is not visible at all. It's behind the guy who's in front of him. Yeah, so I have right there, I have a new figure from imagination. Right? Anyways, this is really good paper. The Marvel Way, John Buscema, Stan Lee, is an excellent book. So this is newsprint, but it's been used already. It's been used with inks, and you can get a fresh pad from your local art store. But like I said, these are really good. This is still good. This is still good for drawing. It's still paper. It's still paper and still good. But this would be the newsprint without any ink on it. Fresh. Okay, so that's the lesson. It's a basic sketching, how to sketch video. I use this thing in the bottom so that when I paint or I do anything, it doesn't get on the desk. This is probably not the initial idea that they had for this. This is really good creating grids in your work it's another technique. When you want to scale something and you see something, you have something really small, I want to put this on a t-shirt, but I want to make it really big. You use a scale just like this. You add the scale to this, and then you give the proper proportions it's a technique. It's a lot more advanced, but that's it. That's basically it. I have inks here. This is Liquitex ink. I'm using this right now on my drawings. Acrylic ink. These are really good. This is advanced stuff. I'm learning how to ink my own comic book drawings. This is really great. Winsor & Newton ink, black India ink. I love this stuff. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna start posting drawings I've been working on. I'm sketching out. I have a book. It's not a book. It's pinups of my comic book idea. Waffles. I'm going to be posting that stuff up on my Instagram page. So what are key concepts here? What are key concepts that I want to go over before I say goodbye till the next video? Sketching it's like pre-production, if you want to look that word up. Pre-production of something artistic. Preproducción. I wrote it in Spanish. Production. It's getting your ideas together. It's starting to write the story. It's brainstorming. If you guys know what brainstorming is. Sketching is it's a useful, like some people think that they get a sketchbook, and they think they have to be really careful with the paper, and they don't want to ruin the sketchbook because it's a very beautiful sketchbook. No, really use the sketchbook, and when I mean use it, really dig into the paper, make your mistakes in the sketchbook. When you come up with something that you really enjoy, or something you find that is really, really to your appeal, cut out stuff that you like and put it in your sketchbook. And eventually you can say, I'm going to sketch this because I have to study it. It's a way of studying form. Study what it is you want to put on a piece of paper. It's possible that it's not going to be, it's plausible and possible that you can get it really close. But initially, that should not be your idea. The idea is that we experiment and really go over it freely, because this is how we're going to make mistakes and figure out new things about form. Oh, the chin is not completely flat. There's a lot of information here. So you sketch that area, and then you sort of look. Her neck has a sun shadow on it. I like to use the sketch as the actual drawing. I think sketches are very beautiful because they have a very raw quality, human quality. It's not a computer, it's not AI. It's me learning about form. In this case, I was drawing the Prime Minister of the UK. So I'm learning about form, and I'm learning about this specific person. I'm learning about the female anatomy. But all these mistakes that are within the drawing, or within the sketch, are very appealing to me, and they tell me a lot about who I am, and a lot about not necessarily bad or good, not critical thinking, or oh my God, he doesn't like this specific area, or he does like this. No, like, because something is beautiful doesn't necessarily mean that the artist enjoyed it. It can mean a million things. Words, like pictures, are worth a million meanings. It has millions of meanings. Her eyes are around this area. So it's me studying her, me really looking at her anatomy. Like, her eye socket is here. She's got, it's going to be really hard to do any fine drawing, but it's a sketch. I can do this in my notebook, and I can make mistakes. No one's going to look at my sketchbook. No one's going to criticize me. I can make mistakes. That's why art is here. It's here to help us. It's here to help guide. Those eyes are way too big. I made her eyes way too big. Her eye sockets are up here. Yeah, that's... How do I know that? Because I've been studying her, and I know that she's got really small irises. Well, they're not small. They're just, she likes to, when she's expressive, her eyeballs aren't that big as compared to other people. Like a specific fine line to her. Her eyes are way too big, way too big. But her eye sockets are big. If you know anatomy, you look at her eye socket. It's not tiny. It's proportionate to her size. Her mouth is open, so her chin is definitely lower here. There's all kinds of information here. Right. She looks like a completely different person here. Her eye sockets. I'm drawing her eye sockets. You can't really tell. Anyways, that's part of the beauty of it. It's a completely new, different. I created this person. not from imagination. I used a reference, but that's how you learn. That's how you learn, and then eventually you start learning how to create stuff from imagination, quote unquote memory, because you utilize stuff you have in your memory bank. This is it's going to be very difficult because her mouth is open, but her nostrils. Hey, it's a completely different person. It's not Liz Truss from the conservative, but it is because I'm using her as reference. She looks like a different type of person, like not because of the color. Right, her eyes are very small, but this is her entire eye socket. I know this from anatomy. So I have that in mind, that her eye socket is I turn to delicacy when I want finer lines. I'm a little more delicate. I'm doing this very quickly, as you can see. This is very quickly. I'm doing this in minutes because I have the practice. If you look at her hair, she's got lots of hair here at the bottom, but the curves here are a lot finer on top. She's got lots of hair. She's got a necklace here. So this is a study of the figure. She's got her mouth is open. I really can't see that well with the phone right in front of me, but it's a synthesis. It's a made-up version of the original. She's of course a lot lighter. Her skin is a lot lighter. She's got pink, yellow hair. Her mouth is small, but it's open. I wish I had my I do not know anything about Liz Truss, Mary Liz Truss. All I read was that she's from the UK Parliament, Conservative. This was in 2022. I don't know what this looks like now. Look, there's a lot of white on the entire face, but I'm gonna look for the things that really stand out, which is some parts of her forehead are really white. There's white on her hair up here. There's a lot of light. This is a sketching method. I don't want to ruin it, so you're a lot more delicate, but if there's a mistake, well, that's how it came out. You want to slow down, especially I'm speeding up because of the video. I have to post this up right now, and it's gonna very specific to what I'm doing, right? It's like I'm putting a lot of pressure on myself. But you can take as much as a sketchbook. This is preliminary pre-production of something you want to work on later. If I want to do it again, then I just draw her again. And then once I know her very well, then I come up with a really nice drawing. And the drawing is what I present. But I think that sketches are ultimately there's a lot of charisma to a sketchbook. So anyways, that's the idea. That's the sketchbook. Política británica y líder del Partido Conservador. Yeah. That's not her, but it is. It's my version of Mary Elizabeth Truss. Excuse me, I'm sorry. It's my version of Mary Elizabeth Truss from the English Conservative Party. So that's one way of doing it. Use this. This paper is really good. It's really excellent. It's a really tiny drawing. She looks really dark because of the charcoal, but yeah, I need a, here, let's try to do it. I got a white pencil here. We give it some time, some space, maybe a little more light. I'm probably not going to be able to do this as well as I think with the phone. But it's a sketch, right? That will eventually give me more and more information. For example, if I'm going to do some sort of I'm going to work on maybe her portrait or something, then I have studies of her body. I know that her hair is a certain way. I can maybe with practice I can draw her from memory. This might require a lot more. But yeah, no, I don't think I'm going to be able to get the white that I want. Anyways, that's the video. That's the lesson. That's sketching. Don't be mistaken by this. Use it freely. Use it freely. Sketch. This is basically sketching is a lot faster, freer. You can do it a lot slower, but make your mistakes on this thing. I'm creating. I have no idea what it is. Some sort of superhero. From my imagination, because I have gone through this 100 times. Okay guys, that's the video. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you have a better idea of what sketching is. Come up with your own solutions sometimes, but use those books. Get those books to give you get those books on specific subjects. For example, The Marvel Way is an excellent comic book problem solver thingy. Find the things that you like and practice. Do the things that you like. What is this? This is supposed to be the pelvis. Pelvis. This is his rib cage, and this is the The arms. I know I'm making this look difficult to some people, and I'm making it look very easy to some people. But don't be mistaken, you have to practice and you have to really copy those drawings. I still copy every day. It may seem like I'm comfortable with this, but I don't know the muscles, I don't know the arteries, I do not know the nervous system, which is something I'm lacking in. But I will eventually, I have books, and those books contain that information. When I need a specific area, for example, right here, I wanted to really look at her eye socket is big. I'm not wrong on the eye socket, but there's so much information. I'm sorry, I don't want to seem like I'm there's a lot of information in that area. If you can tell, you can see it looks like it's very little information, but there's a lot of information. The eyebrow, the eye socket, from here to here, there's muscles here on the chin, which are very pulpy. There's stuff here too, which is there's a lot. There's a big muscle here on the forehead. A lot of muscles going on. Every time she moves her face or expresses herself, there's muscles being pulled and others contracted. So there's a big area here, if you can tell. This is her eye socket, right? If we look at the anatomy of the human skull, there's two eye sockets. It's like a hole right here where the nose goes, because this is all cartilage and skin, veins, and arteries, nervous system. The chin, this is two parts, right? The skull, there's a skull that goes here, and the bottom part of the jaw is almost like an extra part of the skull. It's not like one solid thing, it's two things. So the jaw is just dangling, it's just dangling there. The neck, there's a lot of stuff here in the neck. There's a lot of information here. Her neck isn't as long as Monica Bellucci's, but it's still a long neck compared to a lot of people. And she's got a long neck, proportionate to her size. Anyways, guys, that's the video. I was just going to make it 2 hours exactly so that it's 2 hours. Make your mistakes on your sketchbook. Don't be afraid to do that. At first, it's not going to look like this or like this. But if you get good at copying, copy those master drawings and copy the Marvel way. You get stuff on the Marvel way, and you see how simple things are. Find the things that you like. You don't necessarily have to copy comic books. I'm into the figure right now because I got the Marvel way, and I used to buy comic books when I was in middle school, and I have a lot of comic books, and there's a specific art to the comic. There's a specific way of drawing the figure. There's a specific thing, and there's a difference between fine art and illustration. Fine art has a hell of a lot more time given to each subject, but what are we working on? We're working on color. We're working on the shape, getting the form exactly correct. Again, it's two completely different things, but it's the same field, right? Art. So not that one is better than the other, but it's just different. This is great paper. This is really great paper. And I cut this out, and then I eventually get a sketchbook, and I put it in my sketchbook. One like this. Don't spend too much on materials. Don't overdo it. All you need is a sketchbook and a really good pencil. It doesn't have to be a lead pencil. It could be one of these Faber-Castell pencils. One is enough. And then you practice on that for a long time. If you get bored, then you get a colored pencil, but just get one. You don't have to get the entire set. Like I said, I've been collecting all this stuff, throughout a period, and then, I've sold I've sold some paintings, and I've sold some what is it called, oil paintings and acrylic paintings. So then I continue. Get think of your current abilities. Don't go overboard on buying stuff that you're not going to use because you don't know how to use it yet. Anyways, good luck. Have lots of fun. Don't forget to have fun. This is something to have fun. This is my profession, and there's also these dolls. Well, I dropped something, some clay. There's also these dolls. This is the female proportion, but I know some anatomy, so I can make compensation, and you can get these. These are excellent to put on your desk and step away from and copy. These are the proportions. A superhero, but he's human. We know Batman is a human. Superman may be a little bit too big because he's from outer space, so his proportions are a lot different. But we can use him. We can use him in our drawings. Superman is, well, he's human too. I don't know the origins or the entire Superman thing. Spider-Man is also human. The X-Men are really interesting. I can't make him stand because I only have one hand. Come on, don't fall. Why is it falling? There's a way to keep off because his arms are pulling him forward. There you go. So you just put it there. You use one of these boards. You put your paper there, and you look, and you sort of angle the board, and you copy. If you have more than one like that, you can copy distance, you can copy dimension. Things that are closer are obviously look a lot bigger. Things that are farther away look a lot smaller. But that's one way of doing it also. A lot of the Renaissance, what did the Renaissance artists do? They would copy sculptures. They would go to their piazzas and am I pronouncing chiesas, chiesa, the churches, and they would, with paper and some sort of surface, copy sculpture. I love to copy sculpture. That's one of my favorite things to do, is copy these from photography, sculpture, because sculptures have dimension. They are an exact. They are basically the thing you have to copy to understand dimension, space, and mass, form. But that's like a little one, like a little sculpture. There's nothing wrong with copying this one. And we have one light source right now. My apartment is completely dark. There's no lights on except this lamp right here. And you can study also the way the light is hitting the figure. And if I pull the lights, it's really, 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 really on top of him. If I do this, you can see that oh, sorry.